I'm here with James Wan. James is the director of Insidious, and I've talked to Lee, I've talked to Oren. I told both those guys what I'm going to tell you now, and that is, it's really cool to see this great revival of just a solid ghost story, which is something I think we haven't really seen done quite this well in many, many years. I mean, because we had that whole kind of that rut of the remakes of the Japanese horror films.
Yeah, the J-horror craze.
which were all almost exactly the same. And so
Right.
it's nice to see something that kind of goes back to the roots of what made ghost stories great.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, it's definitely a throwback to just good old-fashioned haunted house ghost stories,
Yeah.
which is the kind of stuff that I grew up loving, and I think. I don't think like this new generation of kids that are growing up with that's not what they're used to, I think.
Yeah.
So hopefully this film will play well to them. I don't know.
Yeah, I will say this: I thought it was very unsettling, and there were several moments in the movie where, I mean, even seeing a lot of horror movies,
Right.
I found myself very uncomfortable, even though I knew something was coming. It was still very kind of like uncomfortable to be sitting there, which I think is the mark of a really successful, suspense.
Oh,
film.
thank you. Yeah, no, I mean, like, that is definitely one of the hardest thing to do is building something. As an audience, you're so used to it, and you're so familiar with a particular style of filmmaking and a particular style of genre that it's the convention that comes with it, right? It is trying to kind of like sidestep around those conventions, or knowing when to use those conventions to your advantage. Mm-hmm. And so it was challenging trying to do something that was that hasn't been done before, but has. Yeah. If that makes sense.
What were some of your influences? Like, I mean, are there some classic ghost story movies that you kind of like look back on and said, I want to capture that same sort of magic?
For me, it was definitely. Usually, when I talk about this in a more sort of mainstream crowd, I would pick a more mainstream film. But since your website's called
Big fanboy.
I'm going to go more big fanboy-ish.
Yeah.
And I would definitely say that one of the films that I love is a small little low-budget film that was made back, I think, in the 50s at some time, called Carnival of Souls.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Carnival of Souls, which basically has lots of ghouls in it, and it was made so cheaply, and to the point where when you see the makeup on the ghost, they just look pretty haphazardly painted on, but because of the cheapness, it really added to a sense of unease and creepiness to the whole movie, mm-hmm. and it helped it that it was in black and white, so it had this quality to it, and I really love that, and I just I love. I've always with the kind of movies I've made, especially the scary ones, I always try to capture the eerie feeling of those older horror films, as opposed to the more contemporary ones.
Right. No, it really does, and I think it kind of puts you in the moment too. I was telling somebody about it earlier, and I was saying how in movies like Poltergeist, you see like it's implied that Carol Ann kind of goes over into the spirit world, but it's never seen. And like to me, one of the unique qualities of this film is being able to kind of see this whole world that we never really get to go into. It's very effective and unsettling, I think.
Yeah, I think in the in the culture that we live in, where we're so used to seeing things, I think to build something up so big and not show it, people would be very disappointed as well. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you do run the risk of showing something that may not live up to people's expectation,
sure.
Which is always very dangerous as well. And so it's that that fine, trying to find that fine line, and I always find with the kind of movies that Lee and I makes, it can be quite polarizing because we want to push the envelope. We want to do things that are outside the box, but by doing so, you're really doing things that people go, what the fuck is that? Which I guess, like if that's what they don't like about the film, because they go, you know what, the film kind of take on a weird tonal shift or it becomes like a different kind of movie, that's fine with me, because then I would have achieved what I set out to do, which is, you can't please everyone. I just want to make the kind of movies that I want to watch myself.
Yeah. Lee was putting it, he said, like, I imagine what my 17-year-old self would want to go see.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's absolutely.
Basically, yeah.
I was also telling Oren, I just read an article like a couple days ago about how Guillermo del Toro was saying that they couldn't get a PG-13 rating for Don't Be Afraid of the Dark because the MPAA said it was too intense for a PG-13 rating, which begs the question of how the hell did you get a PG-13 rating? Because this thing is really intense. I mean, it's frightening as hell.
I think Film Comments said that it's the scariest PG-13 film they've seen.
I would agree with that.
Really? Man, I don't know what to say about that. So what? Don't afraid of the dark.
Don't be afraid.
Don't
of
be
the
afraid
dark.
of the dark.
It got an R. Yeah.
Got an R rating.
Yeah.
Wow, that's.
And apparently there's no foul language. There's no gore. It's just I guess they just said it was too intense for PG-13.
I don't know. I mean, I try to stick to the same, criteria as well. I mean, Insidious is really a film without blood or guts in it. Not a drop of blood, and no swearing, nothing sexual as well. So, just everything about it. I guess all the intensity is just more through the, the build up and the suspense and stuff like that. So, I'm not sure, to be honest. And you would think that especially where I came from with my soul background, I would be somewhat of a target. And I think I have been in the past, because when I first set out to make Dead Silence, I really wanted that to be a PG-13 film as well. Mm-hmm. But the irony was I was coming off Saw, which was a hard R, and it started to shift away from the J-horror film into a much harder kind of film that the studio actually imposed me to make an R-rated film, which you never hear of, which I think it's kind of ironic.
We want less people to go see this movie. So we're gonna give
we want it to be more hard R-rated and not PG-13. That was pretty interesting. I actually did want to make, after Saw, I really wanted to make a PG-13 film, and so I was very conscious when I went into Insidious that that's what I wanted to do. But at the same time, I really don't believe that your rating system dictates the quality of your film or the scares of your film or how scary your film is. Because some of my favorite scary movies recently are PG-13 films, like The Ring, The Sixth Sense, The Others. They're really, really frightening, scary movie, but they're all PG-13.
Yeah. What's up next for you after this?
I'm not sure. I'm looking.
No. Taking a bit of a break,
Not yet. Not yet. I had 2 hours of sleep last night.
Well, no, I don't know if Lee was speaking out of turn, but he hinted that you guys had an idea for a sci-fi project.
He and I, between him and I, we have a project. But Lee is a perfectionist when it comes to crafting the script and crafting a concept, right? And so it takes him a while. He really needs to wrap his head around an idea, and we have a really cool idea that he's trying to. I think put together first in his head. So, but I'm not sure how long it would take Lee to write the script or whatever. So, I'm not sure if that would be my next movie. I really don't know what my next one will be at this point.
Yeah. Well, dude, I think you knocked it out of the park on this, man. James, it's
bro,
awesome
thank you so much, man. Thank you.
It's good to see you again. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Take care.